The new CEO fired me without knowing I was the only one in the company who spoke Arabic with the most important clients. She called me useless and said they needed younger energy, so I simply left. 4 days later, she regretted it like crazy. I was let go on a Thursday morning. It did not take long for them to feel the impact. Grab the popcorn and enjoy the show. An invitation appeared on my calendar at 8:40. No subject. Just saying, conference room 5B mandatory. My name is Gareth, 53 years old, male. I was the senior manager for Middle East operations. I spoke fluent Arabic. I knew how to tell the difference between a handshake that closes a deal and one that ends a partnership, and I lived 3 years in the United Arab Emirates before most of my colleagues could find the place on a map. I did not panic when I saw the invitation. I did not call anyone. I just closed my laptop, grabbed my jacket from the chair, and went up to the 5th floor as if I were getting coffee. The hallways seemed quieter. Some people looked into my eyes and immediately looked away. That is how you know. When those who normally greet you treat you like a ghost, the writing is on the wall. Conference room 5B was one of those cold rooms with frosted glass and nothing on the walls. Just a long table, 3 chairs, and that faint smell of industrial cleaning product. Victoria was already sitting at the head when I entered. She had been CEO for exactly 47 days. She came from a venture capital firm after the previous CEO retired. The board loved her because she used words like optimization and strategic realignment all the time. The rumor in the office was that they brought her in specifically to cut fat. She had already fired 17 people in the first month, almost all of them middle managers and longtime employees. The expensive ones, the ones with accumulated knowledge and negotiated salaries. The ones who knew where the skeletons were buried. She had an annoying habit of sighing loudly every time someone said something she thought was below her level, which was apparently almost everything. She would interrupt mid-sentence, incorrectly complete what the person was going to say, and still get offended when corrected. I had seen this in a few general meetings. Sitting next to her was Denise from HR, with a manila folder in front of her and her pen already uncapped. I sat down, crossed my hands on the table, waited. Victoria looked at her phone, picked it up, checked something, put it back down, as if the conversation was already taking longer than expected. Finally, she looked at me. She did not even waste time on politeness. She spoke in a way that wanted to seem authoritative, but sounded like someone who had read too many leadership books. Mr. Nash, thank you for coming. As you may know, we are undergoing structural changes to better position Vanguard for future growth opportunities. I did not respond. I let the silence grow until it became uncomfortable. She shifted in her chair. Your position has been identified as part of the legacy infrastructure we are moving away from. We are consolidating functions and reallocating resources to more modern structures. There it was, legacy infrastructure, as if I were an old server or a telephone system from the 90s. I was the only person in the entire building who spoke fluent Arabic, who understood Gulf business culture, who had personal relationships with clients who generated over 8 million in maintenance contracts per year. This woman who had been there less than 2 months was calling me legacy infrastructure. She continued with that rehearsed friendliness that never convinces anyone. I am sure you understand. We need people who adapt to the new direction. This industry is evolving and frankly, we need younger energy. She let the word hang in the air without even disguising it. Denise pushed the folder across the table. Standard severance package. 3 months salary, 60 days of extended health insurance, and a letter of recommendation probably pulled from a template. At the bottom was a line for signature and date. Victoria kept talking about something regarding the company being grateful for my years of service. Something about the door always being open. What she did not mention was the delegation from the Emirates arriving Monday morning. She did not talk about the 8 million in pending contract renewals that I had personally negotiated over the last 14 months. She definitely did not mention that Khalil Al-Arsi, operations director of our largest Gulf client, had said in writing that he would only continue with Vanguard as long as I was the main contact. I picked up the folder, opened it. Read the first page. They had misspelled my middle name, Classic. I closed the folder and stood up. Victoria looked surprised, then irritated. Do you not want to review the terms? Maybe talk to someone before deciding quickly? I have already reviewed them. My voice was calm. The terms are acceptable. I will clear out my desk in an hour. Denise's pen froze in the air. They never expect you to accept and leave with dignity. They expect an emotional outburst to document and protect themselves legally. I picked up the folder. Good luck with the Emirates meeting on Monday. You are going to need it. Her expression faltered for a second. She had no idea what I was talking about. She had not even looked at the calendar. She did not know that Khalil and his entire technical team were coming from Dubai to close the largest contract renewal in Vanguard's history, a deal I had nurtured for 14 months. A relationship I had built after the previous American partners had offended them so badly that they swore never to work with a Western company again. Excuse me, what meeting? She asked, but I was already leaving. Let her figure it out herself. Here's the thing about American corporate culture. They love to talk about global markets and international expansion. They put it on the website in annual reports and pretty brochures at industry trade shows. But when it comes to actually investing in the people who make those global relationships work, they treat us like replaceable parts. No one at Vanguard ever asked how I got those Gulf contracts. Not once. Not during onboarding. Not during performance reviews. Not when the renewals started coming in year after year like clockwork. To them, it was just magic. Arab clients kept signing, expanding, referring colleagues. And I was just the quiet guy who happened to be connected to that magic. They did not know that I spent my 20s living abroad. First in Jordan, working for an American oil services company, trying to establish itself in the region. Then in the Emirates, where a local industrial maintenance firm hired me, and I spent 3 years learning the real nuances of energy sector regulations, business etiquette, the difference between negotiation that builds trust and negotiation that destroys it forever. I learned Arabic the hard way. Not in a classroom, but in equipment failures, refinery control rooms, and late-night negotiations, where one wrong word could sink $1 million contract. They did not know about the 12-hour time zone shifts I took without complaining, answering calls at 3 in the morning because it was a good time for the client in Riyadh. Reorganizing my entire life around Islamic holidays because getting a greeting wrong on Eid could delay a relationship for months. They never saw the private messages from Khalil's operations manager, the ones that always started with "Brother Gareth, your word is gold," where he asked my opinion about things that did not even have to do with our contracts.